All right. So let's talk about where your intel comes from. How many thread feeds do you guys have?
You know, we advertise over 60, and our sources of intelligence, there's a variety of them. We're looking at things like forum spam lists and malware command and control lists and botnet lists. We're partnered with other companies like Gray Noise, Andrew Morris and Gray Noise. If you haven't heard of them, they're a great company. So we're bouncing, all the IPs that are being seen on our customer networks against the Gray Noise API. We're doing things like, there are lists out there of command and control servers that are being posted on Twitter and Pastebin and GitHub. We're consuming those and ingesting them. So, it's a whole wide variety. We're trying to, cast as wide of a net. And then what's unique about us is, if you consume a threat intelligence list, one of the big problems people run into is false positives, right? So like, you're going to tell me something's bad and I'm going to block it, and I'm going to block something that somebody in my business cares about, and I'm going to get yelled at, and that's a bad thing. What we're doing behind the scenes is we've built some algorithms based on our experience and knowledge and some automation that say, can we classify something as good, neutral, or bad? Can we assign a level of confidence in it? And then use that badness and confidence rating to then give you a sliding scale of what you want to block. So, that confidence can be affected by, how many lists has it been reported by? We're going to be more confident. How recently has it been reported? So if it hasn't been reported for 6 months, it's pretty low confidence. If it was reported yesterday, it's pretty high confidence.
I really like that because you're right. Something you never truly know unless it's pretty clear. It's hard for you to truly know without a shadow of a doubt this is good or bad. It's probably harder to know it's 100% good. But having that confidence level, you can say, I'm 60% sure it's good.
Right.
And that's probably what you're looking at. You're not looking at, is it bad? I would like to think you assume everything's bad, and then you start to almost build a case for why isn't it bad? And that's what helps increase the confidence level, right?
Yeah. And early on, there were lots of discussions about, what's a force for good? What's a force for bad? Right? What are the things that push it up and down in those ratings? And how do you build that into an algorithm? Because again, there's no human in the loop here. We don't have an analyst that's doing this job. And I think that's the only way we solve these problems at scale going forward, is to say the attackers are using automated means and can switch infrastructure really fast. The only way we can start to defeat them is by doing the same thing to counter them.
So you've got this really fun claim on your website. With the possible exception of a fully and expertly staffed SOC, no other threat detection option provides dark cubes level of threat insight.
Yep.
Have any independent labs done testing to back up your claims?
No, one of the things I have a big issue with in the market is the pay to play stuff, right? So, we could pay money and have lots of good reports come out on us. What we rely on is just delivering for our customers. I think, what I believe in very strongly from an ethos and mission standpoint is kind of telling the truth and being straightforward. And I've built a team that believes the same thing. So if you get on a demo or a sales call with our team, nobody's going to say we're the only solution. We're the only thing you're ever going to need. But what you will find out and what you'll see experientially is, with a 5 to 10 minute configuration, you can get kind of better visibility and blocking and protection on a network than you can anywhere else in the market for the price point we're delivering. And it's really cool to see that taking off amongst our customers.
So where is our data stored? With you having these contracts in the US, I assume you need to be able to provide and prove data sovereignty.
Yeah, with this mid-market, we don't run into a lot of issues around that, a lot of requirements. What we're doing as a model is, you're sending a fire hose of data from your firewall, and your firewall's not sending us content. you're not sending us files, you're not sending us packets, you're sending us the metadata associated with the network traffic coming in and out of your network. We're taking that at our edge, and we're processing that and stripping away most of the detail there and storing the metadata of that stream. So things like source IP, destination IP, port protocol, data volume, those are the things we're keeping and storing. And, as we're happy, we've had a number of customers that kind of want to dig in, and we're happy to sign an NDA and show exactly how we're storing and how this all works. But what you find out is like the stuff we're storing is not sensitive. It's not PII. It's not, it's not really sensitive data. It's summary data that anybody in the data path between your network and anywhere else could see. And so, by minimizing that data and storing it in a secure way, we're providing a pretty good security construct around it.
Well, the reason I ask, and I agree, I understand, because what we're doing is we're configuring the firewall to basically send you log information. You're almost an off-site, not a SOC, but like an off-site collection software where that's all you're collecting is logs from the firewalls. However,
and we're not storing those logs either, right? We're throwing them away once we process them.
That's good information to keep in mind. So, and forgive me, I should know this stuff better, because here's my tinfoil hat moment, right? So, Snowden released all that data, and then he finally had that great conversation with John Oliver on Last Week Tonight, where John shows him a picture of his junk and says, "Here's a picture of my junk. Now explain to me, how each of these programs will use this picture, who can see what, etc." And I definitely recall there were one or two programs that the government was collecting metadata from, phone calls or internet traffic and other things. So if they're collecting that metadata, that tells me that information is at least useful to someone for some reason. So that is my point for asking about the data sovereignty. Is the data like leaving the US, going into Canada because you're backing it up on S3 or Azure, and it's going to other countries just because reasons for data to disaster recovery stuff, right? And then as soon as it crosses that border, or even if it's a digital border, then something triggers and somebody else has information, even if it's just the metadata.
Yeah. So all of our data today is stored in the US. It's not overseas. And the way we've built our infrastructure, we're starting to pick up some customers in Europe and Australia and Africa and other places. The front end infrastructure and the back end infrastructure are separate and distinct. And so, we've thought a lot about how do you build a system that, if you're going to deploy the front end in the UK or, Europe for GDPR compliance purposes, if a nation puts in infrastructure or puts in laws that say data has to stay locally, how do we support that, but also still support this shared security model? So we've thought a lot about it, but today it's all US based. On the metadata, you're absolutely right. And I think that's where we're delivering, some of the most value to our customers today. We had one customer about a month ago that called us, and they're one of our larger customers, and they had detected a Cobalt Strike. A machine had had Cobalt Strike running on it. And so there's command and control going on inside their network, and we didn't pick it up. They're like, "Look, you guys didn't score this as bad. It scored a 6, which is kind of neutral, but potentially bad." And so when we started to dig into it, what we found is like none of the sources that we were looking at, nobody knew this was a bad IP. So that it was like a brand new, server stood up by an attacker for this attack. And we were able to have a really good discussion with them about kind of why we didn't see it. But what was really cool is we're able to then put that in our back end and say, hey, this is bad. And so instantly all of our other customers were protected from that IP. And so the ability to say, I can take this and protect everybody at mass with one person learning is really a great vision into where we're headed. How do you provide protection for all without a lot of work?
I love
and then
that.
The final thing I'll add is, like, on the DoD work we're doing, that metadata is a key part of our program with them, and all the participants are signing agreements saying they understand what's happening. So this is all happening under bright light and sunshine. What the DoD is doing is they have access to that network traffic for the customers in their program. So we have a standalone environment for this program in AWS GovCloud. And so the DoD analysts are able to they're able to look at real-time network traffic for very small and medium-sized defense contractors and search for indicators of compromise without knowing which networks they're looking at, because it's all anonymized. So they can say, hey, it looks like this network is compromised. Darkcube, can you reach out to them and let them know something's going on? We don't know who it is.
And that doesn't happen on like my networks, only on the defense contractor networks?
Correct. So it's for the people in that program that are a part of that program. They're signing up to basically say, I'm a defense contractor of 15 people, and I can send my anonymized network traffic to the DoD. They can look for threats and help protect me without me having to reveal who I am. So that anonymization component is really key there.
Well, assumes the best of people, Steve wishes that you would do that with all of your customers and allow the DoD to just inspect my network traffic and let me know if I have a breach. Tinfoil Hat Steve says, this guy worked at the White House and he is helping build a new program, and now they're seeing even more.
Yeah, and that's why, I think transparency is key here. Like, truth in advertising really matters. And that's the only way you get rid of those fears and nervousness. So for us, the proof, when we bring on new MSPs, it's, try it free for 30 days. If it does what we said it does, then great, let's have a relationship. If it doesn't, walk away.
And the cool thing is, even though the DoD isn't looking at my traffic like thinks the best of everyone Steve wants them to, all of the insights you're getting from that is still being filtered out to the rest of us.
Yeah, and we just brought on kind of the first kind of head of security operations for our team that's really going to start to do some more insight and digging into the data that we are seeing on the commercial side as well, to start to find trends and patterns. And where I want to be in the next couple of years is, because you're seeing this traffic and we're storing it anonymized in a single data set, the ability to find beacons or scanning that other people don't know about is clear and present. And so the ability to start to be more proactive on protecting our customers. So you don't need a SOC that's looking through a soda straw at one set of data. When you look across 1,000 companies, you can see trends and patterns that you can't see otherwise. But a key part of that is, minimizing the data you're collecting and anonymizing it from the analyst's point of view. So they're not saying, I don't care about Steve's network. I care about the aggregate of networks and what trends and patterns we're seeing.